I'm all dressed up because my student had a recital, but he's sick, so I'm going to do a video instead. I've got these lovely pillows stacked behind me to block out the light because apparently I can't afford drapes. I also have a nice watermelon lemonade. Oh, that is tart. Ooh. So today I'm going to talk to you about teaching. Woo! So there's a saying, you might be familiar with it, those who can't do, teach. No, I freaking hate that saying because teaching is literally one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. You need to have a super specific skill set in order to successfully teach, so I do not agree with that train of thinking. And anybody who teaches out there will agree with me. For example, one of the hardest things to teach in terms of clarinet is explaining the embouchure, the tongue position, and what your throat is supposed to be doing at any given moment. These all involve muscles that you can't see. I can't switch heads with my student and show them what it's supposed to feel like. I usually find myself teaching a technique multiple ways, hoping that one way that I explain it will be able to be understood by my student. Different students end up learning things a little differently. It varies student to student. So what I might say to one student might be completely, foreign to another student, and so I have to explain it in a different way. And when they finally do what I've been trying to teach them, there's that magical moment where it's just like, aha, I got it, okay, I totally understand what you mean now. That light bulb moment alone is worth it. So why do I do it? About 8 years ago, I met a man named Bob Spring. He was teaching master classes at a music festival called Domaine Forget. And if you've never heard of Bob Spring before, you should look him up. He does some pretty amazing stuff, like triple tonguing Flight of the Bumblebee. No big deal. So Mr. Spring has a super active teaching career and also a super active performing career. And I thought to myself, as a young musician who was trying to figure out what the hell she was going to do when she left college, I thought, you know what? If I could divide up my career into teaching for half of it and doing performances for the other half of it, that would be like my dream job. Obviously, if somebody right now walked in the door and offered me a job as the principal clarinet player of the Boston Symphony Orchestra, I'd take it. I'm not an idiot. However, I do prefer performing solo and chamber music to orchestral music. So that's a thing. So on the one hand, you have teaching. Teaching is the most rewarding experience that I can think of. Also, no matter what level of student you have, you as a teacher, you're learning things along with them. Because as artists and musicians, we are always learning. We're going to be students of music, of our instruments, for the rest of our lives. It's a great life to have. It's rewarding to be able to know that I'm motivating my private lesson students. It's incredibly inspiring to see them work hard and finally pay off in a final performance or a recital, because I only hear them once a week. So when they're practicing over, however many days until I see them next, they're always improving. Every time they come in, they're always one step higher than they were before. As a chamber music coach, it's inspiring to watch the group find their own sound, and grow together as a group. And it's also really wonderful when you have beginner chamber music players, because everybody ends up loving chamber music. I love chamber music. And as an ensemble conductor, which I don't do as often, but I do, As an ensemble conductor, I am always blown away by the hard work that students put in, by like the discipline that they show, the respect that they show me and their peers, and also just their general understanding of wind ensemble works. So no matter what you end up teaching, there's always a goal, there's always a problem to overcome, and there's always inspiration. And on the other hand, you have performance, which is what my degrees are actually in. I really enjoy freelancing because no matter what the gig is, it's always going to be different. So this year I've had some awesome gigs. I've played the Beethoven Choral Fantasy, which if you haven't heard this piece yet, you should stop the video right now and listen to it. I'll put a link in the description, but you should listen to it right now. It's an awesome piece. The piano part is kick-ass, and we played it in a church, which has great acoustics. I jumped into the Harvard Orchestra to play contrabass with them on a 9/11 concert, and we played The Transmigration of Souls by John Adams. I will also find a good recording and link that below for you as well. I've performed in a recording session and also a concert for 2 separate schools, playing works that were written by students who have backgrounds in pop music, rock music, and electronic music, and this was their first go at writing orchestral music. Watching them be inspired by the music that they created was awesome. And I do that pretty frequently, and I love getting called to do that one. Coming up this month, I'm performing a super obscure opera, one that I've never heard of, which is a feat in and of itself because I'm a huge opera person. It was it was premiered in 1957, and we'll see how that goes. It's coming up. I just got the music, and I'm really looking forward to playing it. And then it'll be wedding season. I've got a trio that plays weddings occasionally. I'm also part of a band. I guess you would call it a band. It's made up of 3 percussionists, 1 clarinet / bass clarinet, keys and bass. I think that might be it. A string section that usually rehearses separately and records separately. And the composer is in the ensemble as well, and he writes awesome music that's inspired by Nik Bartsch. And if you didn't stop the video to listen to the Beethoven, I encourage you to stop the video right now and look up Nik Bartsch and all of his music and listen to it for hours. Because literally anything that Nik Bartsch does is better than anything I'm going to say for the rest of the video. I'm a big fan, can you tell? We also used that same instrumentation to record another piece by a different friend of mine, and he made an animation to go along with it. So it's a video, it exists on YouTube, I'll link it below. I'm playing bass clarinet on the piece, and if you listen to the piece and if you're specifically listening for the bass clarinet sound, you're not going to hear it because he compressed the crap out of the bass clarinet part. So I sound more like a dragon than I do a bass clarinet. And I am perfectly okay with that. I've also been asked why I don't get a teaching certificate. I honestly don't know what a teaching certificate is. What I'm assuming is it's something that allows you to teach in public schools. I really should do more research into that. But if it comes down to teaching in public schools, I don't want to limit myself to one specific area. I also don't want to limit myself to one specific age group. I love teaching beginners. I have a student who has literally never seen music ever in his whole life, so I'm teaching him how to read music and also play the clarinet. I've got another student who just graduated college and did a awesome senior recital where he did a lot of really tough repertoire like the Copland Concerto, and I've got students all in between that of varying levels. I also don't really want to direct a high school band, and this is nothing against you if you want to be a band director, because I can imagine how much fun it would be to go to work and teach band. Like, I loved band. Band was like the highlight of my high school career, because I was a band geek, if you couldn't tell. I mean, clarinet slayer. And I still love band and wind ensemble because I sometimes get to step in and conduct. And I love doing it. It's super fun. I'm looking for different things. I've also been asked why I don't get a DMA, or a doctorate of musical arts, doctor of musical arts, doctorate. The main reason why I'm not getting a doctorate. Well, there are two main reasons why I'm not getting a doctorate. Number one, I can't afford 3 more years minimum of school, because piling that on to my already excessive student loan debt would be even more crippling than it is now. And I say that with a smile on my face. The second big reason why I'm not getting to get it is because I am beyond done with school. I am so done. I did 4 years of undergrad, 2 years of a master's, so that's 6 years, 7 years if you count the 1 year of high school that I spent at an art school. So believe me, I have put in the time. I have done my time. I'm done. I'm also done with this video. So, if you're a musician, doesn't matter what level you are, do you teach? Do you play? What do you want to do with your life? Leave me a comment, because I'm curious. I really like talking to you guys. I don't know, this is a super fun project for me, and I love that I'm meeting all of you, and that we're talking amongst ourselves in the comment section, because that's like what I want to do. Like, I just want to connect everybody into this wonderful clarinet-y, band geeky bubble, and share with you what I know. You can share with me what you know, but hopefully the things that I'm explaining to you are understandable, and if they're not, then I'll explain them in another way, because that's what I do as a teacher. So, that's sort of a little bit about me, and more in depth as to what I do. I've already told you where I come from, and like how I got started, and sort of like a brief history of myself, because I'm so interesting. I think I'm gonna do another video about what it's like to play in a college ensemble and a high school ensemble, and the very different experiences that I've had, and the different the different options that are out there for you as a human, as a musician. Oh, anyway, this was fun to do. If you like this video, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe to my channel. Yeah, I usually end the video with go practice, but like, my whole afternoon is free, and like, honestly, I should practice this opera, but I kind of want to go drink a beer like outside somewhere, so I'll feel guilty about it, though. My clarinet's like right there. I'm gonna go practice.